Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the DCL Duo podcast, brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel. And Sam, do the jingle.
All right. Simply the best, better than all the rest.
All right. Continuing our trend here, we're trying to clear out the Canadian reviews before we head back to the good old US of A here. But this week's review comes from JF Canuck. Who writes, great resource for all
Wanted
things
to make sure we
DCL.
know he's Canadian.
Yeah. Great resource for all things DCL. Great content to listen to when you are cruise planning. I recommend also joining their Instagram to see some pictures of what they are discussing each week. Yes. Well, thank you for that review. JF Canuck, an apt name for a Canadian review, I think. So we appreciate it. And I know Sam is going to give her reminder to go subscribe to all the things we really have a ton of Instagram content. So if you're not following us on Instagram, you're missing out. But yes, thank you for the review. I will give my spiel, which is, as always, one of the easiest ways to help support the show. Head over to Apple Podcasts, hit those 5 stars. If you leave us a written review, we will read it on the air at the top
Only
of
a written
one of our
5-star.
Well,
Only
yes,
written 5-star review.
If you also write then a review after hitting the 5 stars, we'll read it on the air at the top of one of our main episodes. You can also, by the way, if you are on a different podcast player, please feel free to rate us, like us, whatever that podcast player supports. I know we've got built up quite a few more reviews over on Spotify, for example. So just leave us those reviews. They really do help us out. So Sam, I'm going to toss it over to you to introduce our fabulous guest, our fun topic for today. Take it away.
All right. Well, we are joined today by Rob, who's going to talk to us about his recent cruise on the Disney Treasure. So obviously the best itinerary, 7 nights, of course. Rob, I don't even know, did you go in the Eastern or the Western Caribbean? Because that really matters.
Yeah, the Western Caribbean. My daughter picked it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show, Rob. We're excited to have you for and it's not your first cruise, but first time on our show. So welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Love the show. Been listening since we booked our first one, and it's been an awesome help. So, no, thanks for having me.
Long time, first time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love it. All right, Rob. Well, we're going to dive into your cruising and Disney background. As I mentioned, you've got a couple of prior cruises prior to this one. So now you're 3 cruises. You're well on your way to achieving gold status. I know you even have your 4th one booked just a few months from now. But tell us, where does your love for Disney come from? I know as we're talking, you're wearing a Mickey Roosevelt sweatshirt. I love it, with the big Mickey thumbs up for those who are listening rather than watching. Yeah,
yes,
I
a
asked
great
him,
sweatshirt. Yeah,
it's tremendous.
Yeah, right before we started, Brian, before you logged on, I saw Rob's sweatshirt and I complimented, and he said it was from Roosevelt's. I was like, that's awesome. That's such a great sweatshirt. Yeah. That brand is great. And if they're listening, we'll take a sponsorship. We'll take some free stuff, Roosevelt's, if you're listening.
Actually, what we really want is Aviator Nation, because one of their sweatshirts would offset some of the cost of our show substantially. So there you go. Yeah. At least it would support my spending habit with that company.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Well, Rob, tell us where your love for Disney comes from, and then what got you into cruising in the first place.
Yeah. So, no, thank you. I grew up 80s and 90s. Some of my favorites growing up in the 90s with, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. I was born in Florida originally, went to the parks a few times as a little kid and as a kid growing up, and then just didn't go much at all, like from high school through college and everything. And my wife and I found our way back with her family for the Wine and Food Festival at Epcot years ago. And then when our daughter was born, of course, she's consuming all things Disney. Spent a lot of time watching Moana on Netflix during the pandemic, a lot of time. And before the pandemic, we had a planned trip to Disney World in 2020 before everything got canceled. And before everything shut down, my wife and I actually went back to just sort of scout it out to see what we would do with a 3-year-old at the time. And had a lot of fun. Parks and everything shut down. And when things started to open back up, we decided we'll do the trip again. And we did a 7-night trip to Disney World. We stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Every day was a park day. It was
Exhausting.
fun, absolutely exhausting.
I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Like 7 days is great, like because you really can see so much in that length of a park trip. But like every day, you're up early or you're at to bed late, and you're just go go go. And if you're staying at, this is no shade to Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's a beautiful resort. But if you're staying there, you're a little bit farther away, so it's harder to go back in the middle of the day, for like nap or, break time, rest, especially with a young one or even just adults only. Like it's a bit of a schlep to go back unless you're at Animal Kingdom Park. That's the only one that's really close.
That was the only day, but even that day, we were out the entire day. We were the whole day, every day, and you're right. And we came back, we had a great time, and we're like, well, that's going to be a while until we do that again. And I think it was that was like November of, I forget which year. My daughter was 5, and while we were making Thanksgiving dinner and my daughter was watching the parade, there was a commercial, I think, for Disney Cruise Line. And she said, Daddy, can we go on a cruise? And my wife and I had never thought about going on a cruise. And she was asking like nonstop. She loved the commercial. And
Well,
I said,
that just tells you, I mean, Disney
yeah,
Cruise Line knows how to make their advertising.
they got us.
Yeah, they have the float in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade they've had now for several years, right? That's a cruise ship, basically. And then having those ads on TV that cater to, showing sort of catering to families, right? Like they can entice, I mean, we know this. Commercial advertisements work on children just as much as they work
Oh
on
yeah.
adults.
Yeah.
Wait,
And 100% work.
a successful billion-dollar company can convince us to buy their products? I don't believe it.
Oh yeah. They got us good. And I can't say no to her, frankly. And I said, absolutely, we'll do it. And I looked into it. And I have a good friend who's a travel advisor. And, we looked at a 5-day cruise initially because we didn't know. And we didn't want to do something 3 or 4 days. We did 5 on the Dream and we loved it. It was amazing. She had a great time. I describe it as like the easiest vacation we've ever done. And we've done a lot of traveling, and it literally has been just the easiest, most relaxing time. And it was everything, my daughter wanted it to be. It was everything we wanted it to be. It was just the perfect mix. So it was great. So we got hooked from there forward.
Oh, I love hearing stories like that because like vacations with young children can be really, really hard. And even a Disney Cruise Line vacation can sometimes be really hard with young children, especially just depending upon what stage they're at. But I honestly think that your best chance of having a great vacation, if you're a Disney person and you're not somebody who has like the extreme, seasickness issues, those then, maybe a cruise isn't for you. But like, I really think your best chance is on a Disney Cruise Line as opposed to a parks trip or some other trip like going to Europe and touring a big city, things like that, right? Like, I just think it's a lot easier. Your hotel like travels with you, right? Like, there's food that is very, like, kid-friendly, generally speaking. There's entertainment that is mostly included, like 99% included, right? So it's just, and catered towards that audience, catered towards that family audience. And I would say, like, from the, young to the, tweens, I think that's where Disney's, like, sweet spot is. The young children all the way to tween, even though I do think there are plenty of families with teens that enjoy it as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
Now
it's been oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say
no, go ahead.
it's just we got like a Disney bug also from the trip.
Yeah.
And we've tacked on park trips before the cruises now, and we'll take DCL transportation. We went to Olani after the second cruise. We had this cruise, so like we got a Disneyland trip coming up. So like it's been great to sort of rediscover everything Disney with our daughter who's now 8 and still loves everything Disney. It just changes. It's like Descendants and Zombies now and things like that, but she loves it. It's been great.
I love that. Those movies are like really popular. I honestly think that Disney like Disney Cruise Line has now tapped into Bluey, right? They've been like really smart to do that. I think they'll also be really smart if they start tapping into the Descendants and what is it? Zombies and cheerleaders or something or
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
well, yeah, in the zombies thing, it's like
in the zombies.
cheerleaders and zombie. Yeah, yeah,
Right. Like, if they start doing some of the and Brian has, like, probably no idea what I'm talking about right now, but if
No, I
yeah.
do. I
Oh, you
know.
do?
Yeah.
Okay. So if they
Yeah.
start tapping into that for, like, maybe, I don't know, some character meet and greets, some, like, deck parties, things like that, I actually think that will be super, super successful, both for, like, young kids into the, teenagehood, really. Yeah. Yeah. Now, you guys, you got the bug, so you did Aulani, you've done parks, you've done now 3 cruises. What was your second ship that an itinerary that you went on?
yeah. So the first was the dream, then we did the fantasy last year, and now the treasure. Yeah.
So you wanted to, complete your dream class.
Yes. Yes.
Nice. And now you're working on the wish class. So enjoy that. I love that. Awesome. Okay, so now what made you specifically book the Treasure 7-night Western Caribbean itinerary? Was it just like what fit? Are you like a completionist? Like what was sort of the thinking behind booking that specific ship and itinerary?
Yeah, so well, we saw all the marketing material, everything coming out about the treasure, and I know we'll probably get to it later, but we'll say one of my absolute favorite Disney movies growing up, and even still to today, is Aladdin. And I just saw all the theming, and I was like, I have to, I have to get on this ship and see it. Of course, my wife and daughter also were all in on trying to check it out. And then, the timing of it, we were just looking for when we could possibly, get away for the cruise. And then Western or Eastern, I think I was probably thinking more of the Eastern Caribbean itinerary. My daughter, though, and I had been watching different videos of 7-night itineraries. And there was one so random that was in like Jamaica, that stopped in Jamaica, and they followed on one of the excursions, and it was to Mystic Mountain. And she was like, we have to do that. Can we please go and do that specific excursion with like the bobsledding and everything? So I said, yep, sure. So that said it. That was going to be Western Caribbean then. And yeah, it was tremendous. The ship was great. Really happy we were able to get there. Didn't get there within the first year for the inaugural year, but it's an amazing ship. Still feels brand new. All the ships feel brand new still. But yeah, it was great.
Now, how old is your daughter?
She's 8.
Okay, so
So
yeah,
yeah,
so she's still in that prime perfect. So she started cruising at age 5, and now she's 8. So over the course of 3 years, she's hit 3 cruises once a year. That good progress, Rob. I got to give
yeah.
you a
Yeah, thank you.
little a little clap for that. That's awesome. Now, you guys, where do you live?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay, so you're on the Eastern Seaboard. You're not too far. Our show sponsors are headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina, as well. Actually, and several of our cruising friends are hail from there as well. So it's super easy for you guys to get down there. I'm imagining though you were flying to Florida for your cruise.
Yes. For the first one, we drove, and when it was over spring break, which is my mistake, that then I decided to drive, and then we drove back, and it's to Fort Lauderdale, maybe 9 hours driving with traffic and stops, and on the way back, it took 14 hours. We fly now. So we flew down, which no problems on the way there. On the way back, it was when all the snow and ice storms were hitting the East Coast, and our flight got canceled after being in the airport for about 6 hours. So we went back, which was fine. Our travel advisor, Alyssa, just helped us book another hotel at Disney properties. So we just went back and we enjoyed Wilderness Lodge for the night, and, just some of the shops and restaurants. So then we went back the next day. But still, I would take that over driving any day. Frustrating, but we made the best of it.
Yeah. Now, on the front end of this trip, where did you guys stay down obviously in the Orlando area because you're sailing out of Port Canaveral on the Treasure?
Yeah, so I initially booked Port Orleans French Quarter, and I guess it was 2 nights that we were going to stay there, and with a park day at Magic Kingdom. But between when I booked it and we left, I decided to surprise my wife and daughter, because the initial trip that we were going to go down in 2020, we were going to stay at the Grand Floridian, and that all got canceled, obviously. So weren't going to stay as long of a time, but I figured let's make the best of the trip where we're going to be at the park. So I changed it to the Grand Floridian. So when we showed up and got in the car and everything, we showed up at the Grand Floridian. My wife and daughter didn't know exactly what we were doing or why we were there.
They're like, wait, why are we at the Grand Flow?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be at Port Orleans.
But it was tremendous. The rooms were great, staff was great, and it was, I had never stayed there before, and it was so amazing just walking up onto the monorail and then magically being in the park and then taking the boats home at night and everything. Just a really great start to the trip.
Oh yeah, there's really nothing if you're going to Magic Kingdom. Let's be honest, there's nothing better than staying on a monorail resort. Like you just can't beat that like convenience factor that you get there way quicker than or I mean you could even walk there from, some of the from the
Totally, we
hotels.
thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course you're going to be walking a lot during the day. So you're like, I'll just taking the monorail makes total sense. All right. So the next day you are waking up at the beautiful Grand Floridian resort, but you are headed to Port Canaveral for your cruise. What kind of transportation did you use to get down to the port?
Yeah, we used the DCL transportation, met us right there at the Grand Floridian, picked us up relatively early. I think it was like 9:30 or so, and got us right to the port easily, no issues whatsoever, and just walked right in. And so early that I went to go check whether or not there was any opportunity to upgrade our room. We were in a deluxe family veranda, and I was thinking maybe, even though we missed out on all the benefits before the cruise for concierge, would there be any concierge rooms available? And there were. It was not a full cruise at all, but there was no discounts being given for the concierge rooms. It was the same price, and I was like, well, no need to do it right now. But they were discounting if you were upgrading from inside to like a ocean view or a veranda cabin.
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of whether or not there are discounts available for those upgrades is really dependent upon like how full they are, right? Like so they sort of know how many rooms are available and it's completely supply and demand based, right? Like and then we know that because that's what Disney Cruise Line does when their regular booking windows open too, right? You can book on day 1 and if you book on day 7, the price will be different between those days. And then of course as the months go by before the cruise, the price will again be different. And generally speaking, the price goes up except for if there are some deals to be had here and there with different promotions that Disney's doing, or port upgrades are another obviously potential discount. So it's a bummer when when they don't have those the discounts available, but at the same time it's kind of like, well, okay, I already knew that going in, right? Like I booked the room category kind of knowing what I was going to get, and it was just going to be icing on the cake if we were able to get something better at the port, which is nice.
Rob, how was the pre-cruise activity booking for you with your booking window? Did you have stuff that you wanted to do that you weren't able to book?
We got everything, even as silver, that we wanted. I was even able to, and I think it's also because of the time of year, but we were able to book a cabana. And not initially, not the first night, but I just checked back a few times and it popped up and I grabbed it. But even after that, I would still check to see if there was, because there was 2 cabanas I got. Initially, the newer cabanas opened up, and so I
Right, the
grabbed one of
Mickey and Minnie.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mickey and Minnie. And then I was doing a bit more research and saw that they were a bit further away from the things that my daughter Alice wanted to do. So, I just was waiting until another one popped up, and I guess now the Sandcastle Cabana, one of them came available, so I grabbed one of those. And the weather did hold out largely for the trip, so we got to enjoy it. This is our first time getting a cabana, but everything else, my daughter did Bippity Boppity Boutique. I did I did 3 tastings. Got all of them. I initially had booked I even got like Palo brunch for my wife and I. We didn't get to do it because my daughter she's an only child, and she did make friends on the cruise, but that morning wasn't one where they were all getting together, so I had to cancel that to spend more time with the whole family. But yeah, everything was available for us, and it was great.
Did your booking window I'm wondering in relation to when the new Mickey and Minnie cabanas opened up, when was your booking window? Was it before they opened or after? Do you know?
I think it was after they opened. So yeah, so my booking window was after they opened, and I think even probably the platinum was probably after they opened with this one, with it being late January.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, it wasn't a completely full sailing, and so that and obviously concierge wasn't completely full, and so that makes the chances of being able to get a cabana better. But also, like you mentioned, it wasn't available when you first checked. It was only from checking multiple times that you're able to book. But I think that was a really smart strategy when you switch to the Sandcastle Cabana. So for those who don't know, the Sandcastle Cabanas are the original family cabanas at Castaway. They've given them that name just to as a contrast to the new Mickey and Minnie cabanas. So now, because they don't want us calling them the old cabanas, it's really like I really think that's just what it is. Disney doesn't want us calling the original cabanas the old cabanas and the other cabanas the new cabanas. So now we've got Sandcastle and the Mickey and Minnie. And I do think you make a really good point, Rob, about the location. And I think the location of the Mickey and Minnie cabanas is fabulous. And I would probably prefer that location, but I'm not interested in doing Pelican Plunge and doing the snorkeling and all the other things that your 8-year-old is probably interested in doing. And if you want to do all of those things, being at the Sandcastle Cabanas, you are way closer to the action. And so if you want that, if you want to be able to do all that other stuff, like that's where if you have a choice, that's the cabana location you want.
So Rob, let me ask this. Heading into the treasure, this is sailing number 2, right? Just to make
No,
sure I've got it
three,
right. 3,
three.
number 3.
Dream, fantasy, and now
Yeah.
treasure.
So heading into the treasure, first experience with a Wish class ship, what were you and your family like most excited to experience on the treasure before you boarded? Because what I like to do lately is ask people, what were you looking forward to and did it live up to the hype? So what were you most looking forward to?
Well, I think for all of us, we were just really excited to explore the ship and check out some of the artwork and some of the really specific touches to the treasure. Like even things like as silly, and everyone says it, but like the carpet's amazing. Like I couldn't get over how colorful everything was. But all of us, my daughter included, were really excited about seeing the Haunted Mansion Parlor, and spending some time there during the day. I love the Jungle Cruise, so I wanted to make my way over to Skipper's Society. And for my daughter was like really jazzed to go on the Aquamouse. She loves the Aqueduct. She was always in the line for it on the other ships, and she really wanted to spend time on the Aquamouse, and she did a lot. So I think those were some of the main things. But just being on the ship in general and exploring the differences between, because we've heard all the varying opinions, the positive or negative opinions from everyone that's been with cruising with Disney Cruise Line for years with on the original ships or the Dream class ships about what they don't like about the Wish. And I think for part of me was just trying to sort of poke at that and see whether or not that was a big issue for me, because I'll just upfront, my daughter, she wanted to go on the first cruise together. So we just assumed we're going to be spending all of our time with her. We're not going to have like adult time where she's at a kids club. So that those districts in the Dream class ships haven't been a huge part of our experience. And so like on the Wish class ships now, missing it is not that big of a deal. And it was just a tremendous vacation altogether. But I mean, really, to answer your question, I think everyone was really excited to experience some of the storytelling on the ship with Sage and Coriander and some of the things that have been organized there, and then also like the Haunted Mansion Parlor, which, not to get ahead of myself, was amazing. Absolutely lived up to the hype, and I could have probably stayed in there 4 hours if I wasn't pulled out by my wife and daughter. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, and the great part about the Haunted Mansion Parlor, if I could digress for a second, is that before 9 p.m., it's open to all ages. And so it is one of the Skipper Society is always open to all ages. So it is a bar slash lounge space, but it's not an adult only space. But Haunted Mansion Parlor is available to all ages for that for most of the day. It's only after, it's only the after hours time, which for Disney Cruise Line is 9 p.m. because it's not we don't have, it's Disney Cruise Line's not a late ship culture. This is not like Virgin Voyages or some of the other cruise
Oh,
lines
the
that have
bars,
more.
yeah,
They're
but
great.
the bars stay open. I mean,
No,
they're
no,
not closing down, but they're not,
no, but it's
but it's
not
not.
like,
No, it's
yeah,
not. Yeah, it's not like Virgin or Royal, but I think that's
yeah.
probably why people sail Disney Cruise Line in the
Right.
first place. So yeah.
Right, exactly. All right, so you get to the port through Disney Transportation. How long did you guys wait in the terminal? And I'm assuming you guys had an early boarding group because you're on Disney Transportation, because that tends to be the case. And so, about what time did you get on board?
We could have walked on within probably 20 minutes of arriving to the port really early. The only reason we didn't walk on that early is because I went to go talk with the staff there about a possible upgrade. But then once we figured out it wasn't going to be in the cards for us, we went, got our picture, walked right on, went up to Marceline Market, had lunch. So it was a super quick boarding experience, and yeah, just walking on the ship on that first moment and like seeing the difference between the dream class and the wish class was great. And yeah, it was really great first few hours just getting on and exploring the ship.
Awesome. Did now you being a huge Aladdin fan and a child of the 80s and 90s, did the atrium, the grand hall on the Wish class, but the atrium obviously on the Dream and the Fantasy, both beautiful, but very, I would say, small in comparison to on the Wish class. Like, was it everything you wanted it to be when you saw that atrium and all of the artwork on the walls?
Yeah, absolutely. And like all the artwork with with Raja, I think their genie was there greeting everyone when we were walking on. One of the first things my wife and I did was take a picture with my daughter in front of the statue and just spent a lot of time just walking around and looking at the artwork. And like there was a tapestry of I think Agrabah and like the palace in one side as you're walking by one of the stairwells, just tremendous. And even exploring more of the artwork around the ship, just all of the artwork with some like the scavenger hunt activities. And I keep forgetting like the ghostly or happy haunt one with, yeah, happy hunt with the magic bands, and seeing everything there. It was great. So I absolutely loved it, and brought back more than a few souvenirs to remember. We almost thought we would have to buy another suitcase on the ship to bring everything home with like the mini ship statue that we brought and sippers and everything else. So yeah, it was great.
Sam, I didn't realize Happy Haunt was on the Treasure. I thought they'd only put it on the
No, no,
Destiny.
they put it actually came out on the Treasure before it came out on the Destiny. It came out on
Oh,
the
okay.
Treasure in October of
So we
2025.
just haven't been on the Treasure to do it, right?
Correct. We haven't been on the Treasure to do it since they launched it because they put it, like I said, they put it on the Treasure just like a couple months before the Destiny or a month before the Destiny launch. Basically, they were like doing some testing, I want to say maybe like mid-October, and then it was completely up and
But
running by the end of
it's not on the
October.
Wish,
It is
right? They've
not
not
on the
added it.
Wish. It
Yeah.
is not on the Wish. And
I wonder if they'll
I
add it. I wonder if they'll add it during her dry dock.
they absolutely could add it during in fact, they didn't even add it. They added it to the Treasure without a dry dock. I just wonder if they haven't added it because of the shorter, because they're just shorter sailings, but I wouldn't be surprised if they add it for the European season, before the European season in 2027, because she's going to be doing those, longer, mostly 7-night sailings and some even longer than 7-night sailings for 2027. Yeah. All right. Well, you mentioned you hit up Marceline Market. We got to talk about Marceline Market because this is your first time, there. Now, to be fair, it's not like so different from Cabanas. It's the same concept, right? But of course, it's mostly crew served instead of self served. And although there are a couple of stations that are self served, what did you think about Marceline Market in comparison to Cabanas on the Dream class?
Yeah. So just like you said, it's relatively similar, and we'll love if we go on, and we will go on another dream class ship, and we have to do magic as well. But and so we'll go back to the buffet there. But we did really like Marceline. I prefer having the crew served food. That
Same,
makes me feel
Rob.
better.
I'm a little bit. I've become a little bit of a germaphobe. I'm not a big buffet person. I'll be perfectly honest. I find buffets in general gross. Disney Cruise Line is a semi exception, just because I feel like they do a good job of keeping things clean. But I much prefer crew served over guest served. I don't need everybody's grubby hands touching everything. Yeah.
Agree. Oh, behind glass, so no one's sneezing on it. And none of the little ones are sneezing or coughing on it, so it's great. But it was a great experience. It was certainly crowded. We have not done the sit down lunch yet, and it's again largely because my daughter likes going up to the buffet and has liked getting crab in the past and sitting down to do that.
Look at her. She's so
Yeah.
fancy. Good job,
Yes.
Alice.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Crab, he'll eat shrimp. Like, yeah, I love
Yeah. Oh
an 8-year-old
gosh.
with
Yeah.
a refined palate.
So do I. It's when not on the cruise, it tends to be a bit more expensive than you planned and trying to broaden their horizons. But yeah,
especially in the parks, right? That
100%. 100%. But no, it was great. Love Marceline. But I say that I think we only ended up going to Marceline maybe 2 more times for lunch, because the rest of the time,
because the pool deck food, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Tell us, you got to tell us what you thought. I mean, the pool deck food to me is like the best on the Wish class. It's heads and tails above, the classic ships. I mean, of course they've added on the cantina on the Dream and the Fantasy now, but I think you just have like all of the different options, and the food quality is so good. And what was your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. It was great. I mean, the cantina, I think I probably went there 2 or 3 times for lunch. Maybe a little extra, but like the pizza was different, which I didn't know. And that was a good change as well. My wife and daughter really enjoyed the smokestack barbecue. Some shredded pork, some pulled pork may have found its way onto a burger at some point. So yeah.
Listen,
it was great.
Do all kinds of like combinations. Yeah, you go to the burger grill to get like a hot dog, and then or a hamburger, and then go get some pulled pork and put it on top, or coleslaw, or beans, whatever.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, again, chicken tenders had to make their appearance at one point while we were watching Funnel Vision. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it was great. And yeah, so huge difference there. And again, another positive being, and my daughter was upset by it at first, not being able to get her own soft serve. But again, much appreciate the fact that the crew is providing all of the soft serve back out to everyone that comes up. And not like there was a long line ever for it. They were, doling it out pretty quick.
Yeah, even when there's a line for it, like they move very fast. They've always got at least like 2 people staffed there, except it like maybe late at night, and then it's maybe just 1 person if it's still open. But yeah, it's. I mean, everybody loves the soft serve on Disney Cruise Line. It's just like, I think it's one of the. I mean, to me, I never go to that like sweet shop to get ice cream, because I actually think the soft serve is better, and it's free, or included, I should say, not free. But why would I wait in line and pay for ice cream? All right, well, we've been talking about food, so let's stay with food and the rotational dining restaurants, because all 3 of these rotational dining restaurants were new to you, Rob, because they're not the same as on the Dream class or the Magic class. What did you think about rotational dining, both in terms of theming, in terms of shows, and of course, in terms of food quality?
Yeah, it was great. Absolutely loved it. I think there were only like 2 nights that were not necessarily of interest to myself and my wife as well. And it was really, I think it's largely been talked about, like the second night at 1923, which is like a lobster night.
Menu. Yep.
Yeah, and then
It's just such a meh menu,
Yeah.
that lobster menu. That's the night to go to the pub if you can,
Right.
or pool deck food, I think. Yeah.
100%. Now, our servers were tremendous. Like I told them, when we when we sat down for the first night there that we probably weren't going to enjoy it. And they said, well, would you like the same dinner you're having tonight? And they brought it back out to us that second night, which was amazing.
Yes, especially if you're getting that filet, because that's the best, like the filet on night one, or even what's the other dish that's really good? It's the lamb, I think, at 1923 from the first. Like there are some, you can if you're really kind to your servers, they can sometimes accommodate. The other part is you can order off of different restaurants' menu, and they're usually pretty accommodating, unless, if you have like a really full sailing or something like that, that might be a bit of an issue. But especially if you've got a less than full sailing, they have a little bit more time to be able to, sort of accommodate those special requests, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, Pirate Night being the other one, and I don't have a huge axe to grind with Pirate Night. It's fine. It's okay. It's not my favorite, but what I've done on this cruise and the last one was to get a curry on Pirate Night, and it's been great. But the restaurants in general were tremendous. My daughter's not seen a lot of Marvel movies at this age. She's seen a few. She's seen like Guardians and Black Panther and some other stuff, but so she wasn't super excited for that one, but she still loved it. She enjoyed doing the trivia at the table there. The second night with the show with Groot, she loved because she does recognize Groot. The food was good. I didn't know what to expect with the menu there, and we had again a great server and great team there. So they had some really great recommendations that we went with. The server had recommended for the first night for me, because I said, well, I don't, there's some things on here I just don't know really what to get. He recommended getting it's a chicken. It's like a chicken cutlet more than anything.
Yes.
I guess
So
it's
chicken
a
schnitzel, they call
schnitzel.
it. Yeah.
It's a schnitzel, but it's not like a pounded flat schnitzel. It's a chicken cutlet of sorts, right? And he said to get that and also get the vegetarian dish, which was like an udon noodle soup.
Oh, the udon. Oh, yeah, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he eats those together like frequently as what he really enjoys. So I said, sure, why not? It was a lot of food, but it was a great recommendation. And really enjoyed the food there more than I thought. And then Coco,
I love that udon, by the
yeah.
way. I'm not
Oh,
a
yeah.
vegetarian. I am a like heavy meat eater, but I love that udon dish, and I will usually get them to bring me like either like just a grilled chicken breast or that chicken schnitzel. The other secret with the chicken schnitzel is if you order because the chicken schnitzel is good, but it can be a little bit dry. If you order, there's a gnocchi dish that's got like a pesto sauce, or get the gnocchi and the schnitzel, and you dip the schnitzel in the gnocchi sauce. Like these different combinations. It's weird, but it's great.
I may have been dipping it in some of the broth from the soup after I poured in. Like he brought like some chili oil out to spice it up a little bit. So it was great. And we have not had a bad serving team on any of the cruises. This was just hands down the absolute best. And they were training someone else, and all of them together were just tremendous.
Oh, nice. So you ended up with like 3 people instead of 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah.
And he was out of training at the end of the week. And so got to see him as we were leaving and got breakfast that last morning without the earning my ears little portion on his name tag. And he was all excited. So no, it was a great group of folks. They, did all the extras as well, and like teaching my daughter origami and doing some magic tricks and the puzzles and everything. And she absolutely loves it. We love doing that with her. But and of course they remember everything. They know exactly what it is that you want when you come sit down. They're ready to go. They know what you like, what you don't like. They knew just that I wasn't going to have any trouble with anything spicy. They knew that I like spicy items, so they were making recommendations there. And then Coco was just amazing. It was especially the second night for Coco. Again, not to get ahead of myself. The first night was good. The second night was tremendous with like the empanadas, and there was like a chicken mole, and there was like everything about that second night with it was great.
And the
show,
show, right?
the food.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's just tremendous. And I know not to be silly, but I did say I got this for my daughter, but it sits in my office now.
It's Dante.
So
Is that
it's
the
Dante.
sipper?
Yeah.
Is that the Dante
Yeah, it's
sipper?
a Dante sipper. And this is,
You
I
got
got
it
it.
for Alice, right? Of
Yeah, I
course.
got it for my
Yeah, you got
daughter.
it for Alice, and now it's in your office.
Yeah, there might be a whole bunch of sippers and other cups that I brought home from the cruise.
I love it.
And every
Yeah,
time I
all of
got
these
one,
popcorn buckets and sippers. Yeah, those were I
yeah,
bought for Nathan, obviously.
that was
No, that is not true.
I
It's
yeah,
know,
fine. You bought them for
I,
yourself, but yeah.
I know. That's the joke,
yeah.
Brian.
It's
Nathan has never asked for a
He's never asked
popcorn
for
bucket.
He has asked for he has asked for a sipper though, because he has in animators. I don't know if they still do this, but the crush sipper that I don't know if they still have, but there was a crush sipper, and he definitely like asked for it. I don't think we even have it anymore. I think we got rid
No, I
of
think we
it.
got rid
But
of it. It was
yeah,
downstairs. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. And every time I got another one, like I got one, I got two, I got a tiki mug in the Haunted Mansion Parlor and a sipper in the Haunted Mansion Parlor with the Hatbox Ghost. And it was every time I got one, my wife looked at me like, "Where are we going to put all this stuff?"
I love your wife.
Thankfully, we got vacuum bags to
So
try to
your
compress
clothes
everything.
compress, yeah.
Yeah, we just got it home. But yeah, the meals were tremendous. I think my favorite night of all the dining was that second night in Coco with the show, the food, the service. But again, like what was not to keep going back to it, but what was crazy and us knowing that it wasn't a full sailing outside of some of the staff sort of mentioning it is, and we haven't been on a ton of cruises, but for the last two, whenever we'd walk in, tables would be full. There were significant portions of the dining rooms where tables were never sat. They were just always empty.
Were you in
It
main
still felt
dining
full.
or were you in
Oh, well,
late
that's the other
dining?
thing.
Yeah.
It was our first time doing late dining. So we were debating, is that
Interesting.
part of it?
Yeah.
Where, we did late dining because we had done early the last two cruises. We did late because and I get it. Like my daughter wants to experience as much of the day as possible. And she wants to stay in the pool and watch things on funnel vision. And, there are days that we do bippity boppity boutique, and those can feel somewhat shorter than others because you come off of the pool deck to do that and you want to do other things. So we said, well, let's do later. She's getting older. She did well. You could tell by the end of dinner she was getting a little tired. But then once we were walking out, if there was something going on in the atrium, like she was ready to go and she got her second wind. But I think from here forward, with some exceptions, we'll probably do later dining just because there was one day where I forget exactly which day it was, but she wanted to stay on at the pool doing the Aquamouse and everything and going on the Aquamouse. So my wife and I would sort of take turns going on and off. And then, my wife wanted to sit and watch whichever movie was out right now. She's like, well, do you want to take her up? I said, absolutely. So we go up to the Aquamouse. It's a relatively short line because it's getting later in the afternoon. And we get on, and Alice wants to run back and do it again. So we run back around, we do it a second time. And after the second time, there was no line because everyone was going to get ready for dinner. And they just said, do you want to go again? And we just stayed on the raft and we did it for another 4 times. So it was like 6 times in a row that we did the Aquamouse. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, we feel the same way about late dining, and I think we kind of we pivoted from early dining to late dining around the same age with Nathan. It was around like 7 or 8 with him, and we had the same sort of experience that you had. It just helped with us like not having to sort of end our day early. And I know that doesn't work for everyone, and so I think people should just figure out what works for their family, especially with young kids. Sometimes you have to just do main dining. But I think sometimes people are surprised that late dining can work even with, older elementary, age kids. I think it's definitely
Well,
still
it's know thyself, right? I mean,
exactly. You got to try it though to know which
but for
works,
us,
right?
yeah, but for us, late dining works on the East Coast because it's like
Well,
early
that's part
dining
of
is
it.
like 2 o'clock in the
Yeah,
afternoon
it's
for us to eat. Yeah.
that's part of it too. But even when we sail on the West Coast, we've now do late dining. So it's just a matter, like I said, I think it's one of those things where like, especially if you have really young kids, start with main dining for sure. But like at some point, it may be worthwhile to just try late dining and kind of see if it works because it tends to be a little less crowded and tends to let you enjoy the rest of your day more. I got to ask about entertainment, Rob, because this is where, one of the things you were looking forward to was entertainment offerings on board the Treasure. And of course, the new themed spaces, all of that. What stuff did you guys get to go to either as adults or as a family? And what was your, impression of it all?
Yeah, so we went to. I know, I know it's not going to be a winner of a comment or part of the vacation for you, Sam. But we did miss Beauty and the Beast.
Well, you
But
did see it on the Dream.
we
Please tell
did,
me.
we did, and I've
Okay.
seen it on
Okay.
Broadway. So
Okay.
we love the show.
Okay.
It's a great show. But we went. We wanted to make sure that we saw Moana. We saw Seize the Adventure. That we. My daughter loves trivia now. Like we did trivia on the second cruise, like pirate trivia, and we won that. So
Oh,
she's
nice.
hooked ever since then.
She wants those
Um,
medals. Yeah.
she does. She does. And so we did a bunch of trivia. I think we did. Let's see. We did a music trivia where they had one of the pianist from Scat Cat come out and play songs. We did a Disney trivia where we actually won that one, and Aladdin trivia, which we were, I think, 2 questions off on that one. That was at Skipper Society. I did a Star Wars trivia that it was, again, close on that one. A whole bunch of us got to 19, and there was one person that got a perfect score. And then we also did we did crafts over at, again, Skipper Society again, which had a ton of fun with. And we did like the family game show, which my wife and I haven't been to see Match Your Mate, but I assume it's somewhat similar in format. And yeah, and my daughter, as they were asking for volunteers, we just showed up thinking we were going to watch it. As they were asking for volunteers, her hand shot up, and my wife said, "You're going up with her." Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
how
getting
well
up on
do
the
you know your
stage.
family
Yeah,
member, right? It's the family version of Match Your Mate. It's like how it's
yeah,
called something like how well do you know your family member or
yeah.
something. And it tends to be parent child, but it can also be siblings and
Which,
it's fun.
I gotta be honest, is a little stressful. Like, you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, I hope I
I hope I
answer
know them well.
correctly." But then also, like, what is my 8-year-old going to say? For my answers here.
Yeah, that's
And we won
hilarious.
that, which was great. So
Oh, that's
Alice was
awesome.
beaming afterwards. And
And then you're like a mini
yeah.
celebrity on board
Oh
because
yeah.
everybody else who's watching, like, everyone in the audience at those game shows, like,
Yeah.
now they know who you are. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, what was funny also for that one is that right after it was family karaoke, but it was getting kind of late. And I guess as it's getting late, some of the teenagers on the ship are looking for other things to do. And a horde of teenagers just, files their way in as my daughter is finishing like one of the questions, and it was at the very end. And as she got a right answer, the whole crowd exploded, and all these kids, sort of cheering her on, which was great. So she was certainly a mini celebrity with them. I will say we were going to stay for karaoke, but since it turned into like a large teen event at that point, it was time for us to sort of duck out and find something else. But the entertainment was great. We went to a couple of the shows with Sage and Coriander, and my daughter absolutely loved it. I mean, they were really fun. Like the
Did you get to
retelling of
see
Aladdin.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tales from the Lamp. That one, I feel like that would be
Yeah,
right up your alley because you're as an Aladdin fan, and
yeah,
Sage and Coriander are just so entertaining.
absolutely. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. We didn't get to break away much to do some of the things that were themed more for adults from an entertainment perspective. Like I mentioned, I did 3 drink tastings that were relatively late. I love whiskey and bourbon in particular. So the first few nights I did, one was the reserve whiskey and bourbon tasting. The next night was just a bourbon tasting, and then an old fashioned tasting. And all of them were tremendous. Really, if you're into whiskey and bourbon, you're going to recognize some of the things maybe there. But there were some other items that were really unique and things that I don't often see. Like there was a boss hog, like a whistle pig, like if anyone's into that kind of stuff. That was really great on one of the nights. And Yamazaki, which is a Japanese whiskey that I got to try, and some really unique old fashioned recipes that the bartender there, Nur, put together. And he was great. And I will admit that I did go back a fourth night because I said I did want to try one of the more rare whiskeys that they had there. So I did treat myself a little bit by getting one of those and bringing home one of the coins. And my wife was there with my daughter taking pictures of me because she knew it was a big thing for me, a special item for me. So we did a lot there. And
Now, were
if,
all of these in
yeah,
Hooks Barbary? I'm imagining at least the
yes,
old-fashioned
yeah,
one was, yeah.
all
Oh,
of
all of
them.
them were. Oh, wow,
All of them
yeah,
were.
yeah.
I thought they were going to be at like Marceline because I saw like the rum tasting was at Marceline, but they were all in Hooks. I think the most that he had there was maybe 6 people, which was really nice because you got to sit and actually listen, ask questions, and he would take different things out for you to smell or try, and there were a little few additions maybe that he would add because he had a smaller group to throw in an extra item or two to taste.
Yeah. And they
And yeah,
actually like I think value-wise, those are actually really good because they you can get a taste of some really expensive, whiskeys and bourbons and I'm not a whiskey bourbon fan. Brian, of course, is in our family, the one who does those. But like from what I've seen, like, they will sometimes throw in something that's quite expensive, and so if you were gonna just order that on its own, like, that would be the cost of it would be a full shot, of course, as opposed to just a small tasting, but, like, it would be the cost of the entire drink tasting.
yeah, and like the first one, that reserve whiskey bourbon tasting, I think was maybe $100. And with like it was I'm looking at like the 5 different whiskeys that they had there, like especially the last 3, the Yamazaki, the Boss Hog 12, and Macallan Rare Cask Black, alone, like really nice pours of whiskey. So if you're into that type of thing, it was absolutely worth it. And like also like the conversation and like the little bit of education you get with it, and just a really good time that I certainly, before I started cruising with Disney Cruise Line, never expected you would find something like this on a Disney cruise ship. So just tremendous. And also like that particular bartender has got a great story. He's been with the company since like, the first ships, and he's moved around from one ship to the next. And just has a wealth of knowledge about bartending and about whiskey in particular. And so it's just nice to have that experience. And then even the old fashioned class, I think that may have been 5 full old fashions, which
Wow!
that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, you gotta pace yourself, people.
Yeah, yeah. So certainly know your limits,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe
Maybe
have a
don't
good
finish
meal
it.
ahead of
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Don't
maybe
finish. You don't have to finish everything,
yeah.
and maybe don't have a drink at dinner or
Yeah.
something. But it was
Good
tremendous.
yeah, good pro tip, if you are going to one of the late night drink tastings in general, but even if it's not the whiskey one, any of the late night drink tastings, maybe don't have a drink before or at dinner because those tastings, you will have plenty after dinner, yeah. Now, Rob, we have hit, like, most of the highlights on the ship, but you mentioned part of the reason why you had booked this cruise was your daughter wanted to go to Jamaica and do the bobsled excursion. So I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about this excursion and what you guys thought of it, and did it live up to her expectations, perhaps?
So yes, and we were there's a little story with this one. So we figured that we would go on the following week voyage for that itinerary because spend extra time at the beach. We hadn't been on an Eastern Caribbean itinerary. My wife and I have been to Mexico. We've been to the Cayman Islands. So we figured we would do that one, but she saw that video and said, I have to do this. I have to try it. She's a bit of a thrill seeker, I will say. So we booked it, and I do have a side note about that other itinerary afterwards. But we booked it, and the day before, while we were at the pool deck watching something on Funnel Vision, I forget what, I got a message in the app saying that the excursion's been canceled for low attendance because we had picked the excursion. There are multiples that are listed, but we had picked one that was the Sky Explorer, which is a chairlift, and the bobsled. There were other ones that included zip lining and another thing called, I think they call it the Ragamuffin, which is a suspension roller coaster. And uh, not something that my daughter had wanted to do. So I went down to the Port Adventures desk, and they said, "Well, the just yours has been canceled, but there are other ones. If you want to do the zip lining or some of these other
Oh,
things,
yeah,
it's an
so you could
extra.
still do the
Still do
bobsled,
it."
but you would
Mhm.
have to do something else in addition. Yeah.
Right. And they said, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And the difference in cost, which I didn't even notice when I was booking it, was only, I think, $10 or $15 a person. So not nothing, but it wasn't like an extra $50 or $60 per person. So I said, yeah, let's go ahead and add it. And even though my daughter's a bit of a thrill seeker, the heights with zip lining at being 8, it just hasn't been her cup of tea. But we got out there, the organization of everything, it was tremendous. It was great to actually get out into Jamaica. Still quite a bit of damage, which was, quite sad seeing the state of things there. But it was great to, support where we could, the business there and some of the people that were part of the excursion. We got out to Mystic Mountain. It was raining that day, but once we got out there, it cleared up. We took the chairlift up. It was gorgeous. My wife was the first one to get into the bobsled because I had to go with my daughter. So my wife went in front of us, and then the way you control it is there's like a handbrake. And so long as you've pushed it down fully, like you're not braking at all and you're just going to fly. And my daughter said she wanted to go fast and didn't want me to brake at all. So we told they said, are you gonna go fast? And we said, oh yeah, she wants to go fast. So they push us off and down the mountain we go. And it was really fast. It was a lot of fun. It was really neat going through like the forest and everything down the mountain on it. My daughter filmed, I believe, on the GoPro. So we've got a GoPro video of it. It's tremendous. And then a really nice sort of ride back up to the platform. And we loved it. My wife said you could hear my daughter screaming and laughing all the way down as we caught up with her. And then as we were leaving, they said, well, do you want to do the zip lining? And at first, my daughter was like, oh, nah, no, it's too much. And my wife is not a heights person. So she said, if she wants to do it, you're going to have to go with her. And the group of people there could see that my daughter was a little worried about doing it. And one of the workers that's part of the excursion said, I'll go with you, come with me, and asked if asked everyone else in the group whether or not they would be okay with my daughter and I going ahead of them. Everyone said, yeah, absolutely. Um,
Oh, I
as
love
she went off,
that.
yeah, and he took her, he sort of grabbed her by the waist as they were both hooked on, and they went, and everyone in the group was applauding and cheering her on. And she is now hooked on zip lining and wants to do it on like every cruise or vacation we go on. So she loved it. It was a great excursion. Great experience.
That's amazing. I have to tell you, we had like a similar experience with Nathan. He was really nervous to do zip lining for the very first time, and now he's like all in on it. Now loves zip lining. So like, I'm kind of the same. I was like terrified to do it. I'm still terrified every time. The first zip line is like really really scary to me, but it's so much fun. And like if you've got really good guides, they really like make you feel comfortable with all the safety measures that are in
Yeah,
place. So I love
absolutely.
that. Oh my God,
Absolutely.
Rob, that's
And
fantastic.
it was such a great experience. And I think a lot of people understand like the need to bring money for tipping and everything, but I was so glad that I had brought and budgeted and made sure I had the right bills and everything to tip
That's
while
a
we were
great
there.
reminder. Great reminder,
So yeah,
people. Take cash on your excursions, even if you're not planning on buying souvenirs. Like
absolutely.
bring cash because if you have great guides, you want to make sure that you show them your appreciation.
Yeah, and like the woman who was sort of escorting us from the port to Mystic Mountain, she was tremendous. Just sharing a bit of knowledge and history of Jamaica as we were taking the tour out there, talking about what happened with the storm. She was super helpful when we got there and held on to my bag so that I could go ziplining. So like she was tremendous, and it was just great to be able to, again, have the cash there to show your appreciation in the right way. And the we're not it's not that we're not big excursion people, but we do love enjoying the ship. And if we do go on excursions, like the only other one we did is when we went to Cozumel, we went to Kuza Beach. There was like a VIP beach experience with like included food and drinks, and it was great. We loved it. I'd say the only thing that was a negative there was it was a lot shorter than I expected, and we got back to the port really early, and I was like, we could have spent another hour or two on the beach, but that was it. We were back on, but still a positive experience. Kuza Beach was beautiful, I'll say. I know they're building a lot more there, but it was really nice, really clean, a lot of space. The staff there was great. So absolutely worth the cost. I just wish it were a bit longer. And then if I could just share, like, I feel really awful about, so at the very end of our cruise, it's when it started to get very cold in Florida. And we, I know I'm skipping over Castaway, but when we got back, so our flight had gotten canceled back up to Charlotte because of the storms hitting the Southeast. There was a lot of cold weather throughout the Caribbean for that week following as well. So the cruise that we were going to go on initially was the week following, and apparently
Is that the one that
we
didn't go
couldn't
to any stops? They
didn't go
hit I
almost
think they went
anywhere.
to Tortola, but they
Mhm.
completely missed St. Thomas, and then they
Yep.
completely missed Castaway. Yeah.
Exactly, and, like, we,
You
feel
dodged your
awful for the
bullet.
people
Yeah.
there, but yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely dodged it, but,
I
like,
mean, it would
we
be
only
nice to have a
missed
cruise like that because I actually feel worse for the crew because
right?
they don't get, like, their time off, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, and, like, it was a little rough at times, like, there were a few times my wife and daughter were not feeling the best, but it recovered a bit. From everything I know for that one, it was much more rough. There was only one day that we had where, like, the pool deck was kinda rained out, and we only missed one port, which was, Cayman, because of the winds were a little high and the seas were a little choppy, so the tender boats couldn't make it back and forth
Oh, yeah.
comfortably
Yeah.
and safely, so
Yeah, when you
so
have a
yeah.
tender port, if you have rough seas, you're if I mean, obviously they can't always dock when there's rough seas, but the captain will usually, try and see if it's, of course, only if it's safe. But like with tender boats, you don't want to be on a tender boat. Like even if you could dock, you don't want to be on a tender boat, like a tender boat in rough seas, because it's like that's where you'll get seasick. Like honestly, that's where, because they do not have the stabilizers that like the main ship has. And even though you won't be on that for long, even just like 20 minutes on a tender boat that's really rocking is a miserable experience. Yeah. Well, Rob, I feel like we've hit probably most of the topics, and locations on board. Is there anything that we missed? Anything that you did that we haven't asked you about on board, or any experience you maybe was different than you expected it to be?
Yeah, so it was our first time with a cabana, at Castaway, and so there are a few things. One, the cabana was great. It was certainly expensive. I wish it were a little bit warmer on Castaway that day, but we still snorkeled a little bit. My daughter, still went to Pelican Plunge, swam in the water. Um, and also they've upgraded the Sandcastle cabanas to have the same type of ordering system that is over at the Mickey and Minnie cabanas with an iPad there. So the iPad has like the music that you can play, but you can also call for service and order drinks, which was really neat. But I absolutely loved it. I will try to do it again in a future cruise. But what I would say is the two other times that we've been on Castaway, we've never felt like we've missed anything by not having a cabana. We've always had enough space. The people have always made chairs available if there weren't chairs available where we wanted to be. Same thing at Lookout. Like we haven't had a cabana there, but it was, it's a nice to have, not a necessity. So we absolutely love that. The So my daughter has done Bippity Boppity Boutique on each of the cruises now. I would say this is one of the best experiences. They've always been amazing, but like this particular uh, fairy godmother in training, there were two. There was one who was just starting. They were tremendous. She absolutely loved her gown. They gave her all the time she needed to find the right one that she wanted to wear. She did adventure tea that same day,
Oh,
with
perfect. So she's all
yeah,
dressed with her,
all
in her
dressed.
outfit for the tea, the
Mhm.
adventure tea with royalty. Yeah.
Yeah, so she loved that. it is expensive. My daughter and my wife went to that together. They had done the one on the Fantasy as well. It seems like this one was just head and shoulders above that. They were both great experience, but this one they absolutely loved with the storytellers. And I have a really great video and picture of Coriander taking my daughter by the hand and sort of like, ushering all the kids into the restaurant for that. And I think the oh, so I did try a lot of great drinks. Clearly, with like the three classes, I think one of the ones I enjoyed the most, honestly, was at Skipper Society. It's a breakfast old fashioned, which it was silly.
Does
It
that mean it
served
has
with like
bacon on it?
there's a okay, so it comes with a waffle and a slice of bacon and like a gummy like egg on the side, but like the drink itself. So that was great, but the drink itself was tremendous.
Okay,
So if you're
Brian,
an
you
old
have to
fashioned
order
fan,
that. Yeah, Brian, you have to order that when we go on the treasure in a couple of months. You're
I don't
getting
know.
Rob, just talk.
Gummy egg.
You don't need to
that
eat
was
the
so
gummy. I'll
weird.
eat.
No, yeah, put that
Yeah,
to the
you
side.
don't need to eat it. I'm gonna eat the waffle, the bacon, and the gummy egg, and just take a
Yeah,
sip of your drink, and you're gonna drink the drink. But I feel like honestly, Robbie, you're like getting me more and more excited to be back on the treasure because it's been more. It's been well, it'll be a year, I think, when we. It'll be a year that since we've sailed on the treasure, and when we do sail in a couple of months. Yeah.
yeah. And I think I want to get back on there. Honestly, like there's so much more that we can do from an activity perspective and just exploring the ship. And the one thing I didn't mention, I don't know how I missed this, but like the Moana stage show was absolutely amazing. Um, Everyone was captivated the entire time. The actors were great. And it was really great to see that in person after hearing so much about everything they've done with like the puppeteering and just the songs and everything. So really great experience. I loved it. I spent a lot of time with my family going to see plays and musicals. I grew up around Washington D.C., so like seeing them there at National Theater or Warner or Kennedy Center, or like going up to New York. We would do New York trips with school or with family, and seeing a lot of things on Broadway. Yes, they're shorter shows, but are they still Broadway caliber? Like, absolutely, they've been tremendous, and like this show is amazing, and I can't wait to see some of the other ones.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's in it. Listen, you have seen the creme de la creme.
Yeah,
I mean, setting aside the Disney Destiny that you're
Yeah, I was
booked
gonna
on,
say
I know,
until
in
the
a couple of
Destiny.
months. But
Yeah.
you've seen Beauty and the Beast, you've seen Moana. Yeah, it's really, really incredible stuff.
All right. Well, Rob, I think we have come to that point in the show where Sam is going to ask you some arbitrary questions, apply some arbitrary rules, and also more than a dash of judgment, or the round we know as rapid fire. So, Sam, are you ready?
I am ready. All right, Rob, you knew this was coming. We are going to talk Disney favorites and Disney Cruise Line favorites. I'm going to start out with asking you, who is your favorite Disney character? And of course, Disney means everything and anything that Disney owns IP wise. So you have lots to choose from.
it's gonna be Genie. I love Genie. The like Genie and Wally, if I have to throw an amendment in there, but like Genie is like on our door, all over our door with magnets. I must have seen Aladdin like I don't know 10 times in the theater when it came out when I was a kid. Had the soundtrack. Love Genie, so it's got to be Genie.
Love it. Love it. All right. What is your favorite Disney movie? And tell me it is Aladdin.
It is it's absolutely Aladdin. And fun fact, during the family game show, that was one of the questions is what is your father's favorite Disney movie? And my daughter knew exactly to put Aladdin. And like, yes, I love, of course I love Star Wars. I love all the things that Disney has acquired over the years. But when I think Disney movies, I'm thinking of what I grew up with. I'm thinking of those animated movies. So yeah, absolutely Aladdin.
It's funny, during rapid fire, Sam, we've never gotten, I think we got Star Wars once and a Star Wars character once. We haven't gotten like Indiana Jones or National Treasure or anything like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Well, yeah, I think people don't tend to think about the live actions as much, though. I think like what Rob you're saying is true. Is like when you think of Disney in your mind, and that's how I feel. As I feel like as a child of the '80s and '90s, like when you think of Disney movie, I'm thinking Disney animated films. Like, I don't think of The Parent Trap, but The Parent Trap was a wonderful, a Disney movie. And I'm talking the original with Haley Mills and Haley Mills. And then, of course, there was the remake with Lindsay Lohan and Lindsay Lohan, right? So, like, I mean, but I don't think of those. I think of Aladdin, I think of Lion King, I think of Beauty and the Beast, and of course, Little Mermaid, which what came out in the late 80s. So, like, I those are the movies that of the golden age of Disney as, as we knew it. So, and of course we've got like plenty of new ones now that are amazing, like Moana and Frozen, right? There are so many just amazing Disney properties, but I think of them as the animated films.
Yeah, same. I love all the live action stuff. Goonies is a Disney movie. Indiana Jones, all that. Absolutely love it as part of my childhood, especially. Still love Indiana Jones. But yeah, it's the animated movie, and like Aladdin was that one. I saw it, I instantly connected with it. Had to see it a billion times. So yeah.
Now I got to ask your favorite Disney song, and I have a feeling I have a prediction in my head, but I'm not gonna say it because I want to know if my prediction's gonna come true.
I am going to throw you a curveball. I'll be honest. Okay, because I love all of the songs in Aladdin. Friend Like Me, absolutely everything. Okay,
That was the one I
love
was
it.
gonna guess was "Friend Like Me." That I'll just tell you
Absolutely.
because it's Genie's best song.
Absolutely. There are two songs that, and I love Colors of the Wind. I think that's one of
Oh,
the best
yeah,
songs
Pocahontas, yeah,
of
that's another one.
from all of Disney's sort of catalog of music. But also, there's the other one, the Lava Short.
Yes! I learned
I
how to play that on the ukulele.
Beautiful.
It is a fabulous, fabulous song, and that short is it's such a beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful. It's a short story, right? It's yeah. I love that. So that is a great answer, Rob. You have already like gotten an A plus plus in rapid fire, and we haven't even jumped to Disney Cruise Line, which was now that's what we're gonna do. All right, so we're gonna jump to Disney Cruise Line, and I've got to ask you your favorite Disney Cruise Line stage show. And you've seen Aladdin, now you've seen because you saw Aladdin on the Fantasy. I'm sure you did not miss that one. You saw Beauty and the Beast on the Dream. You've seen Moana on the Treasure. I mean, like I said, you've seen the creme de la creme of stage shows, like, setting aside Hercules. Yeah, which one is your favorite?
So we've seen in Frozen, we've seen everything, but it's Moana now. After seeing that on the Treasure, like Moana, absolutely. I think the one that's the best done prior to us seeing, they're all great, but the first one we saw was Beauty and the Beast on the Dream. And we were blown away at that point by the quality and just, everything, the stage, the set design, everything. But now it's Moana, especially with like the puppets they've created, and the effects, and it was just tremendous. So absolutely Moana.
Awesome. I love it. I can't wait to hear what you think of Hercules when you go in a few months. All right. Well, we got to shift over to onboard activities. What's your favorite? Not your daughter's favorite or your wife's favorite. Your favorite Disney Cruise Line activity.
I would say I would say the tastings, but like I haven't done them often, and I think that gives the wrong connotation. But I'm going to say honestly, it's the trivia. The trivia has been tremendous, and you know we don't go in. I go in expecting to lose every time, frankly, because of everything I have heard about how many people have gone so often to trivia and just know all the answers. But it's a great way to break up the day, and they are a lot of fun. Like I thought I was going to just clean up in the Aladdin trivia. I didn't. I didn't win that one, but like I didn't think that we would win the Disney trivia. And we did there. So like it's a lot of fun. The ways in which they're doing like the music trivia as well, with like the pianist coming in from Scat Cat was really cool. So I've really loved that. And then I will answer for my daughter. My daughter absolutely loves the crafts, and she has grown to like the kids club as she's made friends like on the ships and everything each time. But yeah, for me, I would say it's the trivia.
Awesome. All right, we're going to shift over to dining. what is your favorite rotational dining restaurant? You can, of course, choose from either Dream Class or from the Treasure.
Yeah. I think now it's Coco. Before this one, um, I would say it was probably Animators. It was just so much fun. But yeah, Coco just hands down has been just tremendous. Like I said, the first night not as strong as the second night, but really great entertainment, great food, and I love my Dante sipper that I have now.
Yes.
So yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right. I got to ask a favorite savory and a favorite sweet item on board Disney Cruise Line. We'll start with the sweet because we saved the savory the best for last. So, what's a favorite sweet item?
So
Ryan's just shaking his head at me. He always shakes his head at me during rapid fire.
I would say, not having been to any of the adult dining restaurants yet, I know that's going to change likely as we get that experience, we get that opportunity. Right now, the sticky date pudding that they have as a dessert has probably been my favorite for a sweet item. For a savory item, I oh, and also with that, I will the pecan tart and that second night of cocoa is a close second. Like that was really great. For the savory item now, it might be the empanadas now at Coco from this last one. It was great. Prior to that, I it might be chicken tenders, frankly, on the pool deck. And it's probably the whole experience of
It's
having chicken tenders on the pool
yeah,
deck, watching
listen,
something on Funnel Vision.
that's not a bad answer. I gotta tell you, you have to go. I know you haven't done sit down lunch yet, but embarkation day sit down lunch, they have an empanada appetizer that is very similar to the empanada appetizer at Coco, and it's on all of the ships. And so it's one of those things where maybe you go to Cabanas or Marceline Market, and then you even by yourself just go to sit down lunch just to have one empanada. They're really, really good. So I
Absolutely.
gotta
Yeah,
recommend.
absolutely. We'll do that. But yeah, it was, again, I don't think there was anything really bad. And I'm looking over at my list of things that we
Yeah.
had. There was nothing
I
really
love that you
awful
have a
that we
list.
had. I did. Yeah. I'm that kind of person.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was nothing bad really that we had. There were things that we didn't like, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't say, oh, that's awful. Right.
Right.
So
Absolutely. That I think that's generally, I mean, I don't think I've ever had anything on Disney Cruise Line that was, like, inedible. There have been things that I didn't like particularly, so I might sort of take a couple of no thank you bites and then leave it. But there's it's there have been other places I've been where there's been food that is just inedible, I would not ever touch. Yeah.
love a no
Alright.
thank you bite as well.
Exactly, a no thank you
Yeah.
bite, that's right. Alright, well, we've got to move to perhaps the most important question of rapid fire before, of course, the bucket list cruise question, which is, which one is your favorite ship now, the Dream, the Fantasy, or the Disney Treasure? Drumroll, please.
It's the treasure. It's
Yeah,
absolutely
that's
the
right.
treasure. It was a great cruise. I mean, again, they've all been great, and I think the Dream is always going to hold a special place in our heart as being our first cruise ship, like first cruise in general. Disney Cruise Line, first Disney cruise, and but I know everyone loves the fantasy is tremendous. More nostalgia or just those memories for the Dream, but yeah, the treasure, 100% the treasure.
Yeah, that's the right answer. All right. Well, the last question of rapid fire is, what is your bucket list cruise? If you could go anywhere in the world, and it doesn't have to be someplace that Disney Cruise Line currently goes, and it's someplace you have not been, where would you go?
Yeah, so I have really wanted for years to go to Japan. And so I'm actually very excited about the news about the cruise ships or cruise ship that might be in Japan in the future or that's planned for Japan. So I'd really like to do one around Japan with Disney Cruise Line and maybe tack on like a parks trip before or after, along with a full trip of Japan and like tour of Japan. I'm looking at the Disney Adventures and going out there. So I think that's probably what it would be, and hopefully it's something that we can make a reality in the future.
Absolutely. Well, if just waiting a couple of years and that OLC ship will be operating out of Tokyo. So we don't know where, of course, it will port or if it will port, right? I don't think it will be like the adventure in Singapore where it's cruises to nowhere, but we just don't know, what kind of stops it will make and the length of cruises that it will be doing. But I definitely see that on the horizon for us as well. All right. Well, as I said, Rob, I mean, you got an A plus plus just like just in the Disney part of the, not even the DCL part, but you did, that carried through. I know what's next. We mentioned a preview of what's next. You're heading on the Disney Destiny in August. Is that right?
That's right. So I'm taking my family and my mother with us on a Destiny cruise in August. And we'll be going to, I think, Cozumel and Castaway. So really looking forward to that. And also, we did get a placeholder on this last cruise. And I'm working with my friend who's the travel advisor to book for the summer of 27, now that we're able to, the Norwegian Fjords cruise. It's going to go to, I think, Stavanger and some other places. So really excited for that one.
And it'll be perfect because your daughter will be about 10 at that time, right? So, either have just turned 10 or just shy of 10, right? But it honestly, I think it's a perfect cruise. It's such a wonderful place to go in the world, and I think a great way to see Norway is on a cruise ship still. So, yeah, it's really, really fantastic. That's awesome.
And we also have our first ever trip to Disneyland coming up in a few weeks. So we will have that. Not Disney Cruise Line trip, but still another Disney trip that we're stoked for. So that'll be happening soon.
Awesome. Well, Rob, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking with you. We, of course, love the treasure for like for me, it's the number two ship. For Brian, I think it's the number one ship. Really, of course, but they're just the destiny and the treasure are just so close there. They're so amazing. I can't wait to hear about your trip on the Disney Destiny. I hope that you will come join us again for an episode to share that experience.
I'd love to. Absolutely. It was great talking with y'all. And just thank you so much. And thanks for all the help that you've provided us, even though you don't know it, for all of these podcasts that we've been listening to and prepping for everything from our first Disney cruise ever to this most recent one with the treasure. It's been great. So thank you.